And welcome back to episode 6 of the Fellas Podcast. My name is Christian. This is my host, Lee. We are back from a disappointing week at Challenge Cup, I guess you could say, but we are back nonetheless. Sorry this episode is late. We're going to do our best this episode to keep you guys updated on what happened this weekend between all the Canadian teams, what's going to go on this weekend with the Major and the C Challenge Cup. Cover a couple topics. We had some good conversation this weekend with a lot of you down in Florida. But first, let's get to our plugs. Of course, we have our Pirates Bounty Tournament hosted by South Detroit Slow Pitch, April 25th, 26th in McGregor, Ontario. We are going to run a men's open, men's intermediate, men's rec. So you always get your 3 level of men's. We'll have a women's division and then a co-ed upper and lower. We are going to open up registration on February 1st. So that's the first announcement for registration. Just like last year, we are going to run an Anarchy bat raffle for the coaches that get registered before March 1st and reserve their spot. Actually, that's going to be a deposit. If you put your deposit down before March 1st to hold your spot, we will get your name, the coach, we will get your name into the bat raffle for a Anarchy bat from that main line. Speaking of said main line, they will be releasing shortly after the draft this weekend. There's an Anarchy draft tournament just outside of Dallas, Texas. I'll be down there with some local players from here, from Michigan, all your Anarchy pros. We're going to be down there. I'm going to try and maybe tease some looks at the new lineup that's dropping. I know we have specs that are going to cover pretty much everything. We got 1-piece coming, 2-piece coming, balance, end loaded, short barrel, long barrel. You name it, we got it, which I know was a big question this weekend at Bat Wars when we were down there. Anarchy didn't debut like some of the other companies did, a lot of their new stuff that's dropping for this spring. So just stay tuned to this page. I'm going to keep you guys updated on some of the new stuff, maybe post some videos while we're down in Texas of some of the new stuff. And then shortly after Texas, you will be able to get your hands on that stuff, including that coveted Shock and Awe that keeps selling out that a lot of you Canadians are asking me about. You're going to have to get on it quick. So when that day comes, we will let you know. A new plug we got going on. We have the Beaver Draft. It's going to be a draft tournament in just outside of Cleveland, Ohio. It's hosted by the Lady Beavers Conference B team, women's team. Em and I got to go to this draft last October. It was a really good time. We played in the one-day co-ed draft. This is going to be a kind of like a Mojo warm event. March 21st is going to be an all-women's draft. So ladies, if you want to get some good quality women's ball in there, meet some new people, get out and have some fun, March 21st is going to be your date. A lot of the South Detroit players will be there on March 22nd, which is a Sunday, for the co-ed draft. It's going to be a huge variety of players. When we played last year, it was a ton of fun. We had some men's conference players in there. We had some C, D, E level players, some rec players. Everybody's just come together, have a good time. What a draft event is about. Next week, we will have Leah Caraba, who is women's second team all-conference player, plays for the Beavers. She's going to be on the pod next week. Really excited to have her. She's going to be talking a little bit of women's ball. The Beaver draft itself, how she got to where she is in slow pitch, and then she's going to help us recap at least the women's side of the Major Challenge Cup. She's going down there playing for Ohio. So really excited to have Leah on next weekend. That's going to be our first big guest. So yeah. All right, let's get to it. Oh, Lee, this for you. The boys on the Rock Dogs team wanted me to wear this one for you today.
Yeah,
it was supposed to be your shirt though, but I'll wear it for you. It's okay.
Okay. That's fair. I mean, that was a funny picture that we got to take with Jesse and Chalk, in the sense of everything, kind of just a full circle moment. And I mean, like I said, people think that like I just don't like them. Maybe on field is different than off field, because like off field, I talk to a lot of those guys. Chalk and I would say him and I went to war together in that stadium game for Ontario Blue, when we were going against when the Ontario Blue team was going to Arkansas. It was just pretty much Chalk and I absolutely roasting. So just
you
shows
can definitely hear you guys on the live though. You hear you guys on the live. That was fun.
Yeah. But yeah, Challenge Cup.
So I'll let you kind of talk about your experience. It was your first time going to Challenge Cup. So you had this expectation, right? This is predominantly your team that we went with, some of the Thunder Boys. So I'll let you just start on. So we're talking about men's E here, Ontario White. For those of you that didn't follow, um, went 0-4. Wasn't pretty. Like it was just didn't play well. But I'll let you talk about what you thought coming into the event and how it played out, and maybe your feelings and thoughts after the event.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. So kind of what I thought going into the event, if you go back to our last episode, I think to be fair, I think I mostly nailed it. I said I thought our infield was gonna be great. I said I thought our outfield was gonna be our issue. Um, and that's kind of what ended up happening, truthfully. Our infield did play really good, like really good. I didn't really have too many issues with our infield. Our pitching came together. I mean, I really don't feel like we lost a game truthfully because of pitching. When you even look at some of the scores, like we should be scoring more than what we were giving up. Um, it was just like I said, I think the outfield, like teams took advantage of that outfield. I think truthfully, right, like and we would know it, we came with a slower outfield and in comparison to a lot of the teams that we saw, young youth flying around there, and we just didn't have that. Um, which obviously is tough. I thought, I mean, game one, obviously, we get Virginia, who, spoiler alert, wins the whole thing. Um, in game one, it's a tough game one, obviously, knowing that, but we played them okay. We just spotted them 7 or 8 right off the bat.
I think it
Hard
was
to,
9. I think it was
yeah,
9.
yeah. And then we had to pretty much just keep coming from behind to keep playing, in that sense. But do what do I think about what like our overall experience? Like I'm trying to like kind of find a line, right? Where I take personal out of it and just think about everything. It was my first time down there. There was a lot of really awesome things. Bat Wars was really cool. Even just getting to play 2 games on the stadium. That's really cool. Like we got that chance. I mean, my hit that I got to get during this tournament was on the stadium RBI single right up the middle. Thank you,
Attaboy,
BP.
attaboy,
Thank you, BP.
attaboy.
Where we're in these
Curtain
tight
call.
cages. Yeah. I also proceeded to also almost throw the ball out of play on an error, third base, which I hard to do in the stadium. I almost found a way.
Stadium jitters. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, we turned a pretty sweet double play in that stadium. A good old third to second, and you were playing in middle, and you actually got the guy out at home. That was pretty cool. Got to be able to watch that. But yeah, a lot of cool things. Obviously, a lot of things that you wish you could change. Um, Taking out obviously personal feelings of it. Like, do I think we brought the best team down there? No. Do I think that we could have brought not different, more guys down there to help us out, especially in the problems that we knew were going to be an issue? Yes. Those were presented to, yes. I just think that there were some people that were down there for a vacation and there were some people that were down there for ball. And it was very obvious which side of each were, and that sucks that we were in that spot. And I know talking with some of the other teams there that there was people that felt the same way with other teams as well.
Right. Yeah. Like that wasn't. And we have something lined up for like the end of the show ish where we'll talk selection process, not to tease the end of the show and stuff like that, but there was an overwhelming uh amount of requests for a specific topic this weekend. We'll cover Challenge Cup in that sense towards the end. Because we're now coming full circle. I remember when that one video clip came up when the other podcast had the C or D player, whatever he is, come and talk about the selection process, right? And weren't really bashing it, but like we kind of just said how he's coming. I understand what he's trying to say, but he's maybe coming at it from a more like personal point, maybe because he wasn't asked, or he doesn't know anybody that was asked. But like now that this whole selection process, everything has come and played itself full circle. I don't want to say he was far off, but he was definitely on the right track. But we'll get to that later. Um, but yeah, no, I feel I get what you're saying for sure. Um, I mean, I'm still frustrated that like nobody wants to go down there and lose, right? Nobody with our platform especially wants to go down there and lose because we have to sit here and now answer, right? I've had 1 to 2 people each day, like, maybe reluctantly just get in my inbox, "Hey, man, what happened?" Blah, 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 and I gotta answer those questions every day already, so I may as well we may as well just put it out here now. The most frustrating part is we saw the winner, and it was this is gonna come off really, really weird or really, really bad because when you play on a team that's 0-4 and you put up the least amount of runs maybe the entire weekend out of all the teams, it's hard to say that that team was gettable. But Lee, you can attest the team was gettable. They they,
Percent.
they were like, and again, like trying to keep personal feelings and stuff aside. Um, like I'm not gonna say Mama's boys would have went in there and for sure won the whole thing. But we've played a lot of teams this year in men's e-ball that were a lot better than that Virginia team. Teams
Yeah,
that we've
fair enough.
beat, teams that we've beat,
And that's not a
right?
knock on Virginia. Like, I mean,
No, no, no,
they
no,
were
no. Like they played well and stuff, and maybe it goes into your whole maybe the team wasn't selected again, I'm trying not to dive into that other topic, but like teams in E are built a certain way as we all saw, right? We played against more 20, 25-year-old kids this weekend than maybe I ever have in a weekend when you exclude the Amish.
yeah.
Um like Virginia was really young.
Arkansas was very young.
Arkansas was really young. Florida was a little bit older, but like they knew how to play that. The Florida teams know how to play the E game. But the E game is
Wisconsin was young.
right. So one of the big differences about ball here and about and ball over there is the E game here isn't necessarily newbies. It's we tier based on skill level, right? Which they obviously do there too, but over there, like because there's a distinct difference between league level players and tournament caliber players in the States. E-ball is usually the young hardball guys, super eager to try and get out of E. Again, not all the states. We know a bunch of people who are E lifers, but try and get out of E, make a name for themselves. Um, so their outfields are always fast. Their infields, especially the middle, are always young, fast, dive around, right? The hitting is predominantly line to line because guys are trying to learn that swing, come out of their hardball swing. So they're really hyper focused on hitting line to line, hitting infield gaps, hitting outfield gaps, which we'll get into later. Like Canadian teams just very clearly aren't hitting good at infield gaps, and that killed everybody this weekend. Everybody. Um, but yeah, the team wasn't built to win an E tournament. I wouldn't say we were built to win a D tournament. I mean, the most surprising stat, and a bunch of people asked me what happened was we had over 4 games, we had 1 home run, which was a solo on the first pitch of the game, um, worth obviously 1 run in the entire tournament, which is kind of unheard of for a Canadian team because every other team had a home run problem. I shouldn't say problem. Every other team had no problem using their home runs, maybe except for the other E team. But I think that they were probably close to maxing out every game.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I mean, yeah, you have a
again,
bunch of guys on that team that can hit them.
yeah. So it was just frustrating for sure, especially when you got a few guys who wanted to go down there and like again, well, I sat down here and I talked about how quote unquote Thunderball, which is a term that we've kind of coined down here, talking about you guys in Windsor. I thought that would be really good in E, like down there. And I thought that some of the pickups that we had, me, Ben Smith, DK, to help fortify some bats and give it power when needed and help fortify the infield. I truthfully even until after game 1, I didn't know Virginia was gonna win, but even after game 1, I'm like, you know what? We just had a rough game 1, like, we still got a shot at this." But it was, like, after game 2 or maybe even 3 where I'm kinda just like, "Nah, we're cooked, man." It's just, some of the I don't wanna say people didn't care. It was
Yeah, I mean, like,
the vibe was kinda different, right? There was no sense of urgency that we had to, like, kick it into gear and start playing well. It was just, "Oh, on to the next one, on to the next one." Right?
yeah,
And
I think I think like what sucks, obviously, especially when we get so many messages, and I got so many messages. How do I get on a team? How do I get and like people that like wanted to, and then like we go down there and like every team here thinking of it, right? Like after win or lose, you have a meeting, right? Like all of a sudden we get done our third game, we're not having a meeting, right? We get done our third game, our fourth game, like we have an early game on the Friday, and we have guys that are just like drinking hard, drinking whatever like that. And it's just like whatever, sure. You're on vacation, but like at the same point, like we're 0-3. Like we gotta show up to play. And then we're doing a BP on Friday or like going into the cages, and there's only six of us that show up to that. And of that, right, like you have a couple guys that like that probably should be there, not there, right? It's just I think I caught the vibe very early when I knew that there was families coming down, and when and listen, there's nothing against any of that. That's not what I'm saying. It just seemed like they were planning more, hey, vacation style stuff rather than let's go lock in for 4 days, 3 days here in the ball, and we'll do the vacation stuff on the end, or in the beginning, right? And that's obviously what sucks. Like I think we didn't, not we, but like our team, there was parts of our team that didn't care to lose, like in that sense,
Right.
instead of winning.
Yeah. So to recap, the men's E final results: Virginia White, which was the team that took us down in game one, wins the entire thing in the if game. They had three really close games, including the King Seat game with Texas South, who came second. Really close, really low scoring games. I got a
Did
chance
you
to
see the
watch the
final of the final game, like the first final?
yeah.
2-0.
Again, it I watched all three cut ups that U-Trip posted of the Texas South Virginia game. So the King Seat game, the actual game that ended up being the final and the winners final. Uh, Not good, man. Like that was the moment where I'm kind of just like, we really dropped the ball. Like we could have put in, like, if Super Series, again, not trying to get too far, but if Super Series sent a C All-Star team this year, I have a feeling that Ontario could have come very close to winning, if not winning the whole thing. We'll get to how we get to that point later. Texas South puts on an absolute defensive clinic. They allowed less than 4 runs per game over 11 games, which is insane. Ohio South, the Cincy-based team, they come third. No real surprise. Not trying to throw shade at anybody, but when you have guys that are at least at one point One Nation C guys, uh, have success winning D events like Mojo and Worlds, like, and you're playing E and U Trip, I mean, I hope you do good, right? And that has nothing to do with like the Michigan Ohio. Like I say Michigan because that's where we play Michigan Ohio rivalry and stuff like that. It's, I don't know. It's kind of a weird look, I guess. Tennessee East. A lot of the Tennessee teams were smacking the ball all weekend. We got to watch the Tennessee women's team did really well. The men's D team had an absolute shootout with Canada. Tennessee can put up some runs. Recap for the Canada teams. The other Ontario Red 1-4. Um, Picked up their lone win against Nevada, I think.
Correct. And
Was
then
it
stayed in
Nevada?
that
Yeah.
game. Yeah, yeah. And then stayed in that game against Texas on Saturday for a little, or sorry, Saturday. Yeah, yeah. Saturday for a little bit. And I mean, obviously that's a tough luck of the draw to get a Texas team like in there. Like it's always the classic. You're looking to avoid your Floridas and Texas for as long as you can most times. And they
Uh-huh.
stuck around for a little bit.
Yep. No, for sure they did. And then the BC team goes 0-4. BC's having a rough go the past two events.
Correct. Yeah.
Again, not trying to knock. We just, what information is out there, we present it to everybody. I think BC is a combined. And again, I don't know ball out there very much. Over the past couple weeks, I've heard there may be a step down from Ontario ball in terms of like levels. Like their A is maybe like our top tier B, which I don't really see. Like I know BC's got some ballers out there, but maybe as like a whole, that's how it works. But BC I think is 1-15
Oof.
in co-ed and men's and women's E&D combined. So BCC teams go out there, put on a show next weekend. I don't think, no, there's no BC major team this year. So BCC teams, like, go and put on a show. Your province is literally counting on you, right, to get you guys out
Yes.
of this hole.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say Ontario's not doing much better, but the Maritimes actually went 0-4. Again, we'll get to this later. This will be tied in the selection process, but when I've gone and cross reference rosters, that Maritimes team was a lot of the Voyageurs guys who are Nova Scotia one. Um, so for them to be in D is kind of crazy to me. That's
This is a live look, everybody, by the way, of how Christian's brain works. Like he just can't stop himself from going for a
yeah.
thing at the end here. He just wants to
Like I
bring it
probably
right
should have
away.
had that topic a lot easier a lot earlier in the show, but
Yeah, yeah.
um, having a full blown team that's a staple at Canadians
Okay, okay,
playing
okay. Wait,
D.
wait, 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 wait. Let's get into D because we haven't even started talking about D, and
Okay.
you kind of just
Yeah.
started
Yeah.
bringing up
Okay.
the BCD. So men's
Yeah.
D, North Carolina, which by the way might go down as probably one of the ugliest jerseys, wins men's D.
Yeah. They're close to the bottom.
Yeah, followed by Indiana. Thank you. I mean, it
Amish.
didn't look like there was a couple of them. There wasn't a ton. There was a
Big
couple.
Amish. Big
True.
Amish.
And then Florida gets one of their only medals actually in men's D&E, and women's D&E. And then fourth is Texas. Now going from now get Christian to the spot where he can keep going on. We had it looks like 5 total teams representing Canada in D. Ontario Blue, mostly Rock Dogs, Bashers. I'm trying to think. I think Miriam's on Rush this year. I'm trying to. They had Kai, who's A2O Royals and B. So that's kind of like where that team. They went 3-3. They were our best representing Ontario team, for the men's side. Um, we had Alberta go 1-4. Ontario White, which is more the Rays, in that sense. They went 1-4. Maritimes and BC both go 0-4. Christian, now the floor is yours. Go ahead. Let me get through the rest of D first.
Yeah. So that Maritimes team, honestly, I'm going to stay on them because that's who I was just talking about. Surprised they went 0-4 a little bit because I had watched one of their early games. You can tell that they're an A team here. And you can
Yeah,
tell that
yeah.
they're an A team that makes Canadians, right? They play very sound defense. They're fast. The problem is when you only have 3 home runs, a rock for a ball, and an IEO, you run into trouble. Right, and that's not a secret. Like I've seen a couple of their posts that from their community page or whatever that has said they run into a home run problem. But when you're an A team from Canada and you swing the way we swing over here because of said equipment that we use, again, we're coming to episode 1 stuff. You're going to run into trouble. I just find it weird how we allowed Nova Scotia one to represent Canada at the D level. Like, what are we doing?
It
I
didn't
mean,
make sense. And it
it
only
does.
hurts them, to be honest, too. It only hurts them.
Right, and it's not like they that was the not stereotypical, but, like, that was just a team that literally got hurt by the rules, right?
Hmm.
Like, in the game they got eliminated, they got the jump on a really good I don't think they were
Pennsylvania
playing
team.
was it Pennsylvania? And Pennsylvania was
Yeah.
good, but they were up 8-0, but they got 8 on 3 on their 3 home runs, and then after that, now you're trying to forcibly keep the ball in the park, right? Which, again, we don't really go middle here. We don't really hit infield gaps. And then you're playing a team I mean, Pennsylvania looked like they could play B, right? They didn't end up winning, but like when
Amish
we
on that
watched them
team.
play, yeah, they hit the ball hard. They were fast. They played sound defense. Pennsylvania ended up coming all the way back, and like I think they had Pennsylvania put up 7 runs, and they had 2 in the bank still. Like and at that point,
Yeah.
you're cooked. It's over.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, BC finished 46, going 0-4. Ontario White. I don't really know anybody that was on that team.
Yeah, I mean,
Finished third.
we saw when we were going over to watch the Ontario Blue team, they were across from us in an absolute shootout with Tennessee. I remember that.
Yes,
I think
yes, I
that
do
score
remember
was like
that.
28-24 or something like that. Like
Hmm.
this is a team that I feel like from what I remember, they've gone down before. And so they have a little bit more clarity of how the games go, and they were in a lot of close games as well. I'm pretty sure Alberta's only win is against this Ontario White team. I'm pretty sure they played against each other.
20 to 10. Yeah, They did.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and but then obviously Ontario Blue were their top performing team. We got to watch probably the most of them in that sense of games. We were a part of that Arkansas game on that
So
Friday night.
yeah. Let's talk them a bit because we have some guys that we know on that team, like Mikey Weeb's on that team. He plays for in the States and stuff like that. So let's go through Ontario Blues tournament since we watched a lot of them. We'll recap some women's because we watched a fair amount of women's ball too, since we had all the time in the world. We were out Friday morning, which made
Yeah,
it the longest trip ever. Longest
yeah.
trip ever. But this was fun because in Coed, we don't really watch ball. We kind of get to the field, do our thing, play our games, and then head back to the house. Whereas, like, I pretty much spent 4 entire days at the park, which was really cool. That was fun. Um, Ontario Blue. So ranked or placed in a division exactly where they should be, right? I'm gonna nip this in the bud right away because I had two of the Rock Dog players come to me and they go, Christian, see, we're a D team. And I went, no, no. One, the first reason was you're at Challenge Cup. Most of these players are on their way to C. So you just competed really well in essentially C. Two, you don't get to say that you belong at that level because you're not good at playing their game yet, right? If everybody on that, like for example, I've seen their averages. They showed me their averages. The team average was probably somewhere around 600. They only had 5 guys that bat over 500, and they still went 3-3. Now, if everybody knew how to keep the ball down like the Americans do, that team makes a very, very, very deep run. Very deep run. So you can't blame um um well you can. You can blame how like your swings are and stuff like that and your ability to play the American style game on it, but you can't say that oh, we're a D team because we don't know how to play American style ball, right? I just said what I said about the Voyagers, right? They're not a D team, right? That team would have been way better in C. I mean, so would the Ontario Blue D team, with the amount of home runs they hit and stuff like that. But they had a really good showing. It was really fun watching those guys. Really super talented team. Um, I think that they just got in. I don't want to say they got in trouble with the home run. We saw a
They
couple
got in trouble.
IEOs.
They got in trouble with the home run. Like that's just truthfully like watching
Yeah,
them like especially
but
the game that they got eliminated.
yeah, but it was more so you had a few guys on that team that just when I say they don't have the American swing yet and they can't cut a ball and they can't go hard middle through the infield or they can't hit name the 3-4 hole or something like that. Like they can't. Like it is a hard ball, derby swing, grip and rip it every single time. And if I'm the opposing pitcher and you're out of home runs, there's no knuckleball coming. There's no curveball coming. I know what swing's coming. Here you go. You're going to get the fattest lollipop ever because I know you're going to hit it out, right? Or you're going to fly out trying to not hit it out with that swing, which is exactly which is exactly where they would get into trouble. Um, you omit that, right? And again, they went 3-3. They were the best team that we sent down there by far this weekend. They had a great showing. They played great defense. They had in bracket play. They had a tough loss to Central Florida, but Central Florida was on fire that game. On fire. Looked like the favorites to win it. And then they got eliminated by I think it was Nevada. No, did they play
Yes.
Nevada and got eliminated? Yeah,
That's
but
yeah, yeah.
that was just a bad game. They just didn't play well. They didn't hit. Um, again, solo or 2 runs, two runs will kill you in D, right? Um, but no, it was cool getting to know some of those guys, getting to talk to them.
Agreed. 100%.
It was fun watching the women's game with them. Hefty probably
Yeah.
enjoyed that too, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, it was just that team Lee. Maybe you'll stop hating on them a little bit. Um,
Yeah, I
they're
mean,
gonna do real they're gonna do well in A. I think they're gonna do
yeah,
well in
yeah.
A.
I think like I was happy. I was cheering them on. They could probably hear me in the stands for the Arkansas game. Like we're all representing the same province at that point in time, right? In that sense. I have no I guess this is where it kind of comes down to is just like to kind of finally like nip this whole Thunder Rock Dogs thing is I think the Rock Dogs C team and who was on that team in comparison to who was on this B team feels like it's a completely different team. I have a lot less hate than like I used to, I would say. Do I mean, I put them in the honorable mention. It's not like I sat there and said they're going to be Braves bad. I think they're going to compete,
I
and I
made you do
think
that. You had them one spot above the Braves, right?
no, that's not true. You're just gonna try to you just wanna keep rolling this narrative. But the thing that was awesome, I felt like, and especially with the men's side, men's E, men's, D, when talking with some of these Ontario teams, and obviously we're gonna try to get more towards our BC and everything, is how much people, like, are listening to this. Because like, we got stopped by both sets of teams, like, we talked to Shap. Shap, I know you're listening to this. Best pitcher in E
C
probably
plus,
ever.
C
Yeah.
C plus, right?
Cliff, if you're listening to this, you got the rankings wrong on on this guy. You gotta go get. He was unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah.
He's starting to throw
Yeah,
knuckleballs in.
this is the second coming of Andy Purcell right here, right?
Yeah, yeah. You guys
Then
got to
that's what he
fix that.
said, right? That's
He said
self-proclaimed.
that himself. Yeah,
It's got to be it's got to be the Bible then, pretty much, right?
yeah. If you don't self claim yourself to that,
Yeah.
but it was awesome. It was awesome getting to know that there's always a lot of people going there. We've lined up guests now going forward because we're about to get into this little time here from past this next weekend to really when the preseason starts for a lot of Canada teams. But like we've heard there's drama in Ottawa. We've heard that Plum wants to come on. Plum's asking always to come on in that sense, and we're happy. I mean, Plum's traveling everywhere to play ball, so why wouldn't we have Plum on? Like there's people that we want to bring on a lot, and we got to really nurture. Final answer. You know my words. Relationships with down in Florida, which was awesome.
No, it was really cool getting to meet a lot of you guys that watch the show and talk a lot of ball, players, coaches. Um, no, it was definitely fun for sure. Again, excited about our first guest next week, and we got another one lined up already for the week after, and then we got another one lined up for the week after that. We'll go week to
Yeah.
week. We'll release our guest list week to week. I'm not just going to drop you guys and everything. You got to tune in every episode to see.
Okay.
But okay,
Let's talk.
let's move on
Let's
to
talk. Yeah, yeah. I got you. We're on the same page here. E women's. Okay. E women's top four. We have Utah, the Mormons win this one.
you
Montana.
don't know if
We have Montana coming second. Shout out to Coop.
yeah.
Coop loved this Montana team from our team. Virginia was third and Indiana was fourth in this one. Our Ontario E team went 2 and 3, finishing fifth. Um, Christian, you got to watch a lot more of this Ontario team than I did, and you also got to bring Too Hefty into this women's E game. So you break this one down a little bit more. I just think my one piece before I hand off to you, Carly from Smash and B, I thought was their best player by a mile.
Killed it.
Unbelievable. Yeah, she gets a round of applause. And that's a girl that
Yeah.
wants to play more states ball and has been open about wanting to play more states ball. And you can see
As she should. As she
yeah.
should. She crushed it this weekend. Women's E. Where do I start? Again, good showing. What did they finish? They finished 2-3, which was fifth. Sad to see them finish below Virginia. I'm pretty sure Virginia cared more about beating Ontario after that whole thing than actually coming in third. I think their win against Ontario was quote unquote their Super Bowl. Um, the Rock Dogs really got on them, right? If for those of you that haven't seen like what happens when in college baseball when you go to Texas A&M and you start walking people as the opposing pitcher, ball 3, ball 4, ball 5, ball 6, ball 7, like that chant, that got to the park, that got that field pretty packed because people were trying to figure out what's going on. That got really, really heated. We had the SPN director sitting there kind of like, I don't know if they were pissed off at us or found it maybe funny.
The all expense paid SPN group there.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely on vacation. They're definitely on vacation.
Yeah.
There wasn't much to see this weekend. But yeah, no, that was a fun atmosphere. Aaron came over, so Too Hefty came over and started partying with the boys a little bit, trying to get the Canadian side going. Unfortunately, the women couldn't pull it off for him. He does have a Canada jersey now, though. So if you see that 15 on the YouTube page, you already know. But yeah, again, I enjoyed watching those girls. Um, it was I just I just feel like that's another missed opportunity for Ontario, right? Um, that not knocking anybody again. That tournament was probably not even close to half as hard as it is to win Mojo. The competition wasn't great. Saw, and I'm not talking about the Canada team. I'm talking about even like the Montana team and the Virginia team. I saw very little speed. I saw tons and tons and tons of errors. Right. Remember, U-Trip at the national level doesn't have an E program. Like when you go to Worlds as a lady baller, it starts in D. Right, like E Worlds for women isn't a thing. So that's why you see 9 teams in E Women and 20, 27 or so in D. Um, I again, and I don't like to bring South Detroit and FAFO into it. I only will because every time we went to watch the E team play, I'd have to answer 3 times, 2 or 3 times why none of the FAFO girls were playing, right? Um, because they all have PRVs of E in the States, right? They play, and they would have for sure helped that team go over the top. Again, I'm not gonna sit here and say that they're better than the girls that are on that team, but there are girls on that team that know that there are 4 or 5 girls on FAFO that would walk in and be top 20% in the tournament. So again, good showing. I do feel like it was a missed opportunity for Ontario because that was a division that even with the roster they brought after its pool play, I'm like, this could be Canada's first gold. Um, in hindsight, I feel like that should have been Canada's first gold. But again, we have to start fixing the selection process for this team. Um, Again, not dropping names, but you left the Michigan E Player of the Year for women's at home, and a a big portion of things that went wrong for Canadian teams this weekend was not finding
Pitching.
pitchers that know how to play that game in the States, and she just so happens to pitch and hit the ball out and hit for average, and that's just one of them, right? Again, we can talk about that later. 2 and 3 is still good showing, much better than us, right? I'm not trying to talk shit. I'm just objectively speaking, and um, people have brought this up in the chats and in my DMs, and it's kind of just like, yeah, I feel like I'll address it a little bit. And again, I'm only bringing it up because I had to answer where the girls are or if they were even asked to play. Um, at the field. I mean, I shouldn't say none of them. One of them was asked to play, but it was the one that had been in the A circles before, right? So again, we're getting into the buddy ball thing, right? And we're not building rosters to win. But okay, let's go to the D women.
Okay, wait 1 second. I'm gonna need a
Um,
break.
okay,
My cat
okay,
broke in
you're
here
good.
and is trying to. No, literally, give me 2 secs. CG, you gotta go. Okay. Okay, we're good. Literally, we can go right away. I'm ready to roll. She just broke in here, and that's why I kept looking around, and she was attacking
Oh,
my cord. Okay,
okay,
we're good
all
whenever.
right. So let's get into D women's. Another Mountain West team, Idaho takes the D women's title over Tennessee. Florida, I believe it was Central, comes third, and Indiana comes fourth. So Indiana places 2 teams in the top 4. Yep, because Indiana women's finished fourth. So Indiana finishes with 2 fourth place finishes in women's. Um, we again Ontario 3 and 3 in women's D for 10th. Um, so they finished in the top half. So technically it would we'd have to like do a little more number crunching, but the D women and the Ontario Blue whatever the Rock Dog men team was, our two
Ontario
most
Blue.
successful teams this weekend. Yeah, yeah. We watched a
Um,
couple D women's games. Lee, what'd you think about those?
yeah, I thought this. First off, I wanted to ask you quickly. This Idaho women's team that won, you guys in mixed got to play Idaho in the D. Did you recognize any of the girls?
No. No,
Okay.
and again, not surprisingly because Idaho to Florida would not be a cheap trip, so I'm not surprised that we didn't
True.
see girls. Yeah,
Yeah, totally
yeah,
fair. Okay, so this Ontario D team, I thought was loaded. They played really good. They probably deserve to go undefeated in pool play. We watched, so we had a couple of the girls staying at the house, like our where our house was, so we were watching it even at the house, in the sense. So they lose to Tex, no, they lose to Florida I think, in the pool play, and they lose very close. But there was one big moment where a coach sent a runner, and she was thrown out by I don't know 3 4 feet, and it was with one of their best hitters. Amanda was up to bat right after that, and the next inning, Amanda proceeds to hit off the fence, which would have cleared the
yeah.
bases completely. So there's just a couple big moments there. Like April, Amanda, both I think going to Griffins this year, loaded. They both played great. I saw
Yep,
a
they did.
lefty second
They
baseman,
absolutely did.
left lefty second baseman, which is a little weird, but she played good. She hit well. It was exactly what you kinda said, the pitching, kinda let them down a little bit less than the E, and also what I just noticed a little bit was a lot of all or nothing plays in the outfield, which you can't really do. A lot and when I say all or nothing, just for people, is like girls trying to make a diving catch, and if you miss this catch, it's an inside the park home run, and it's like and it just felt like a lot of the times it was dropping, and it was leading to these big innings, big runs, everything like that. Just stuff that
Right.
couldn't happen.
No, for sure. We caught the first or second women's D game. Like they could hit. Uh, pitching pitching would have made a huge difference in E. D, not so much. For on the women's side this weekend, we're just talking about this tournament. We're not talking about in general. I mean, I guess you could apply it in
Yeah,
general, but just the consistency in like middle shots and infield gaps and stuff like that for the women's D team was really good to see, and that kept them going throughout the tournament. Like I said, April and Amanda played awesome. Watching them crush the ball all weekend. Um, but yeah, 3-3, 10th place. That's a great showing. Nothing to hang your heads about there. It's again,
and
it's
I think
tough.
they lost a close one to be out too. Like I think and I think it was to Indiana who ended up coming fourth. I think that's who beat them out, and it was like 9-7 or
Yep,
something like that.
yep, yep, for sure. And it's just in women's ball, especially down here at like the Challenge Cup event, you kind of see it's kind of just apples to apples, right? It's not like the men's where the home run rule comes into play. 'Cause I don't know if I saw a women's home run all weekend. I don't think I was even expecting to see one, but it's just straight up, right? Whoever can get the most hits, the most runs, and stuff like that. Like there's no weird rules that kind of play into it. Pitching doesn't play into it as much as it does in the men's game,
Mhm.
um, because of said home run rule and stuff like that. But yeah, that's kind of it. Lee, any surprises from Challenge Cup as a whole? Maybe not even Canada that you saw. I know you were surprised. You're coining it the end of the Florida rain, right? Not very many Florida teams taking. I don't no Florida teams won. We have what, two top threes, three top threes. So we had what, three top three finishes for Florida? Two,
And and
two
and
top threes.
2. And when I say the end of the Florida rain, it's just like if you look at last year's, right? Like you look at last year's D and E, it was swept by Florida teams. They were littered, and sometimes you were seeing Florida versus Florida in the final. Sometimes you were seeing a Florida 1-3. And I think maybe this year, like I just feel like the other maybe it's not unless I think the Challenge Cup just in general, I think for the most part, like there were some really good teams that came down. And in that sense, it was just very tough maybe for these Florida teams to win. I could we're gonna see what happens in C and major. I mean, their major team would probably be
Well,
what,
you're you're
like
you're you're
mine.
you're definitely you're definitely gonna get Florida there for sure,
Yeah, I was gonna
for
say
sure.
Florida's gonna be in the final probably against Texas. They're probably minus 450 to probably win the whole thing. And then in C,
At
like I was
at the major level.
at the major level. And
Right.
then
Okay.
and they'll probably be right there in C. Um, just knowing everything, but just D&E, it looked like other states took a step in the sense of maybe trying to catch them, and maybe that's just showing maybe that there's other states that are just as good as Florida, even though they get to play that 12 months a year. I mean, Indiana, if the Amish come, I mean, you saw it in Worlds, right? If the Amish are there, they're going to be there. And just in the sense of the women's game, you had Idaho and Utah, so a couple, I guess, Midwest to West states in that sense kind of come on over and win their teams that probably play 9 months a
Yeah.
year, right? But in
Yeah.
that sense, I don't know. What do you think?
Florida, at least at the D&E level, like I think that I mean, in Challenge Cup, there's always going to be buddy ball, even in the States. I think Florida plays it a little more than most states. Like I know a couple guys last year when we played them in co-ed, they were playing for the North. And then when we saw them in men's, they were on Central. I don't think that they have distinct borders. Like I think that guys are able to team hop if they don't make one team, and it's kind of just buddy ball. Whereas maybe more states try and build more all star teams because when we were sitting around some of the Florida guys this weekend, they know everybody.
Yeah, yeah,
They know everybody on a first name basis, and we're talking the Central guys knew the South guys, they knew the North guys, they knew the Panhandle guys. Like they know everybody on a first name basis. Like they play against each other, they play with each other. So I kind of just think that they're making teams and then giving themselves a regional title based on maybe where the coach is from. But which means could they be better? Probably. Like if
yeah, yeah.
Central, assuming Central is the best because of where they are, you have Tampa, Orlando, and the Melbourne hubs. If you made all star teams from those three hubs, like theoretically, you should win every time, right? But no, Florida and C and men's major, they're going to show up, right? Both men's and the women's. I think you see a little bit of it kind of mirrors what happens at Worlds, right? Like you have Indiana placing really well in D this year. Well, yeah, United Fencing won, and I'm not saying they had United Fencing players. United Fencing won D, so you can kind of see that Florida wasn't going to make as strong of a push because the Florida teams didn't do as well as they normally did at the Worlds level back in November and October, right? I'd
Totally
have to
makes
go and
sense. Yeah, yeah.
really dig into it to really back up that statement. There probably was Florida teams that did well, but we didn't see the sweeps that we normally see from them, like the guys from Drip that go win or 80 win team in D the very next year and stuff like that, right? That was Forest River or United Fencing this year, right? Where they were a 85 win One Nation E team, and then they go to D the very next year. They win U Trip Worlds and they win One Nation Worlds at the D level. Okay. Do you want to talk? You want to talk? No, no, no. You know, we'll end it on high. We'll talk jerseys last. We'll do our Jersey Mount Rushmore last. Let's get into what everybody said we should have made a full episode about. It was overwhelmingly the biggest thing that people had requested us to talk about this week was the Canada selection process slash team picking process slash whatever for managers and coaches, right? I had a lot of people ask me my opinions on the selection process, what I think could help better the selection process. Um, uh, Spoiler alert, none of those people were from SPN or play slow pitch, so don't expect any changes based on what I say, right? Don't even know if they're going to get any suggestions from you or from me or whoever else. Um, a lot of you will agree with what I say. Some of you will disagree. If you disagree, you're probably on you've probably benefited from some of these rules. Sorry, but it's probably true. Um, and again, that goes for everybody who said that you need to talk about it. Realistically, if we put in the rules that you want, a lot of you wouldn't make the team. A lot of you would get farther away from making the team, right? But I do think that we need to start establishing a set of guidelines for um the Challenge Cup. Like I think that there needs to be a more drawn out or not drawn, a more distinctive selection process for it. I don't think that, I mean, for example, we'll take Thunder, right? We didn't perform well, but I can for sure see why Drew got a team, right? One C Worlds, no, one D Worlds, one C Worlds, right? He puts that on his resume. They're a B team, not at the top, so they don't look like they're sandbagging, right? Mid tier D team that had just come off back to back Worlds victories. Sure, I'll give them the E team. On paper, it looks good, right? SPN side, it looks good because they look like they're putting in like a team that is ready to play at that level. Looks good for Drew because he's done what he needs to do to earn that spot, right? The coaching spot was earned. It doesn't matter how we did this weekend, right? You can't argue with that. Again, could we have picked a better team? Could we have said, Drew, you can't take pretty much the entire Thunder team in 3 pickups? Yes, we could have, right? And yes, we should have. And that would have made our experience better. That would have played into us playing better, or having a better showing, and that would have. Maybe we're going to be the token team that people look back on and they're like, that's why we need a set of rules, right? You had a couple pickups, you had a couple mama's boys, but if you play enough buddy ball, it's just going to sink the ship. Okay, so where do I start? People were just like, okay, so Christian, what do you think needs to happen? Like, what would be the first thing you implement? And then we'll turn it over to Lee. But the first thing I think that we need to do is, well, not we need to do, like what I would do if I was in that spot is the easiest thing would be one, you simply got to cap the amount of players per team that can go, right? So whether that's 3 or 4, the US already has these rules. It's just us that allows you to just send an entire team, plus some pickups, right? At whatever level you want, apparently. Um, Two, what I would do is assuming you're playing off a 2 level drop, right? A to C, B to D, C to E. Provincial winners and Super Series overall point winners. I would offer those 2 coaches the spot, right? Because those would be 2 managers that literally won their way and earned that spot, right? The affiliation is with SPN and SPO, so unfortunately, winning Worlds has no sort of impact on Challenge Cup, right? So if you're the top point getter in Super Series, right, you get invited. Coach gets invited. If you win provincials, coach gets invited. If either said coach or both coaches turn it down, then you have 1 or 2 spots that goes up for application, right? Immediately, that just gets rid of all the coaches that seem to get recycled through this Challenge Cup system, and they keep picking their friends for a worse than top 20 finish, right? Let's get some new faces in there. Let's get some faces that want to go down there and compete and not have it's quite honestly a yearly vacation for some people, right? And before anything says about my team, for our first Challenge Cup bid in E, we won Ontario Open co-ed provincials. This year, we came second to the team that was supposed to represent Ontario/Canada in C. So we've earned our spot, because I know there's going to be some people go, oh, well, Silverbacks goes in it. Well, no, it's not Silverbacks. It's not. It might be mostly Windsor players, but we all play on separate teams. And 2, we've earned that. We've won our way there. But yeah, that's where I would start. And then after that, like, let's say Mama's Boys, because we finished first in Super Series C, was like I got the opportunity to coach the E team instead of maybe co-ed. Christian, you can only have 4 Mama's Boys, right? And then after that, you can only have 3 Cubs, 3 Mavs, 3 of whatever else, right? That forces the coaches to pick an all-star team, which would in turn, hopefully, make it more competitive. Um, but yeah, any thoughts on that, Lee? Like I have more that I just keep going into, but we'll let you talk for a little bit.
Yeah, I no disagreement. I think we need to hold managers like accountable. I think like if you come here, and I think this goes for BC, I think it goes for Maritimes, it goes for Ontario. Like if you come here and you go 0-4, 1-4, like you shouldn't be it should be a new manager that comes in. Like let's say if like there should be someone new. Not saying you deserve to lose your privilege, but like if you apply next year and someone else applies, you can't give it back to you. We have to go here. In the sense, talking to so many states, they did exactly what you had just said. Four here, four there, three here, two here, and vice versa like this. Um, and like obviously like just like we'll take Thunder because it's easy enough to do like our like the Thunder team. Like it wasn't even like if you would have taken the Thunder best four, right? Like, and I'm taking myself out of this because I'm not even, I wouldn't like that I wouldn't have been able to go. So that's why, like, in that sense, but our best four Thunder players, and you start pairing up with other best four players, would have done fantastic, right? And just obviously it happens, but I mean, our best four, just off the top of my head, I don't even think three of them were asked, right? In that sense, to come down, right? Mm, which is tough, in that sense,
Yeah.
but I think I like the idea of I think my big thing, what I took away from our team and maybe even looking at some of the other teams, is I think you need legit coaches. Like, I think, like, us, we didn't have a legit coach. When I look at the Ontario White team, there wasn't really a legit coach. Now, I just think taking and I will say this for you, and I've said it for you for a while now. When you're playing, it's a lot harder to coach. And I think that you're not seeing
Yeah.
things the exact same way from a third party. And I think the teams that we saw that had a legit coach, and I'm throwing it to the Ontario Women's D team, like legit coach, everything like that. That's our best finish. They had legit coaches, right? In that sense, I think you need to get the coaching staff right, and then they can get the players right in that sense, and at least they take the feelings out of it.
Hmm. Yeah. So like we need a selection process for coaches first, and then like I know the other podcast, the quote was, "We need to force them. We don't have to force coaches to do anything. Like it's not going to be like you have to have your token D player in Canada on this team. Like no, there's another side to this where unfortunately, if you choose to play D, I don't think that you should come to Challenge Cup no matter how talented you are, right? There has to be a floor set as well, where if you want to play for said Ontario All-Star teams, you have to play at the level to get noticed, right? So, um and the other end of this is again, it's establishing what levels that we can play at. So here now I'm going to take said exact quote, and then because the other guy, and I'm sorry, I keep saying the other guy, like I don't remember his name, but he was talking about how sending players down there would help grow the game. I get what he's trying to say. I think he missed the mark, and I think his delivery wasn't great, but going over there and getting your feet wet in there isn't going to help you as a player, right? As a D player, right? You're not going to come back from Challenge Cup a better player, right? More than likely, it's going to be a negative experience for you unless you're on vacation, right? The softball's not going to be good for you because you're probably just not going to play well. But we need to establish some sort of guidelines as to who can play where, right? On the men's side, we will have guys from one Super Series team playing at three different levels. That's absurd to have a guy from one team play guys from one team play C, D, and E Challenge Cup, right? Um, I in women's probably worse, right? It it was women from one level covering all three levels in the states. Um, and that shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen, right? You should reward the C women and make a C all-star team to reward those women for the work that they put in, right? If you're going to do if a team of I would rather see a team of C women that are an all-star team go there and go 1-3, then again, I mean no offense when I say this. I promise I don't. Then to see third and fourth tier A women go down to E and just get selected just because they're A. I think that's wrong. I do.
And I think,
Right.
and I
And the
think,
same
like,
and the same goes for D, right? you shouldn't get a spot on the women's D team just because you didn't get asked to play major C or D or major or C, right? If you don't make that team out of the A player pool, you simply just need to work harder next year. That's it. It comes down to it. We cannot be sending players from the same level to cover all the divisions, right? Because I'm going to pick on the women because one, it happens the most at that level, but you can't just take four different tiers of women's A players in Canada, and put them at four different levels at Challenge Cup. That's not right. That's not fair to the C players or the B players that bust their ass all year, that play at that level, for some of them in the States, right? To not even get picked up because they're not on the fifth best Super Series women's A team, right? It's wrong. I'm going to catch flack for it. I know I am. I'm going to get Americans jumping on here like, you have women's A players on E. Yes, 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 we do. Yes, we do. We had women's A players playing E, and I can come out and say it because you can just literally go on the internet and find it, and you're going to find it anyways, right? The people that are wanting to find this information out are finding it, and you're in my DMs saying, why was she playing here? Why was she playing there? My answer is, I don't know, and I don't support it. I really don't. Again, I thought all the girls that I met this weekend were awesome. They were all nice. I enjoyed talking to. It's nothing personal. It's more so just a, how do we fix this issue? How does Canada and Ontario become more competitive? Right? Is we actually start building all-star teams to go down to these events, right? And it's, again, it's as simple as, if you didn't make the all-star team at your level, tough luck, get in the cages, get to work, work harder, do what you need to do to go next year. Because if said coach is picking teams based off a selection criteria set forth by the governing body, you have a chance, right? And again, I understand that the whole buddy ball thing plays into it, but if we have coaches picking actual teams, right, and leaving buddy ball out of it, just work harder. Just work harder. That's all I can say. And like, I don't think veteran experience gives you the right to earn a spot on a team, right? If one day I'm gonna age out, right? And if I can't no longer make a Challenge Cup team because I'm 40 years old and I don't have the same pop in my bat and I don't have the same arm that I once had, my time's done. I should have done more with it when I played, right? It is what it is. Like, I can say it about myself, right? If I go play men's whatever next year, and then that doesn't give me the right to play on a team every year just because I've done it a couple years, right? Eventually, I'm not going to be good enough to play on these teams, and I shouldn't expect to be on these teams just because I've been on them before. I've been at this level for very long. Maybe I'm still hanging around B or A ball or C or D or whatever it is in the States, right? If you can't make the team, you simply can't make the team. And this week, Canada sent too many players that shouldn't have been there, and they sent too many and they left at home way too many players that should have been there. And the results speak for themselves. That's pretty much all I got to say left about Challenge Cup on my little rant there at the end. But again, so for some of the players that went there, we didn't get the results that we wanted. We got to work harder, right? We have to work harder as players. Coaches, we got to pick better. SPN, play slow pitch administration. We need some rules, right? This is kind of getting out of hand. It's kind of embarrassing, right? That, like, we have to come here on here. Well, we don't have to come on here. We just have the platform, but we have been asked to come on here to talk about it because there's that many players, whether they deserve a spot or whether they don't deserve a spot, that kind of just wants things to be cleaned up, right? And wants a fair, some of these players that can absolutely play want a fair shot, right? Um, but yeah, no. Lee, anything else about Challenge Cup before we get to a little more bright topic?
No, I would just say, like, along the lines of, like, when you pick your team, teams are picked September, October. Like, I think it should almost be mandatory that you
No,
try to
no,
get
no, no, no,
across.
no, 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 no. So, no, no. The managers were informed in like June. Some teams were picked
Okay,
in May, right? You got to
let's just
remember,
say,
some
okay.
coaches know that they're going to get picked, right? But
So then at that
this
point,
is the problem, though. No, we can keep going because now we
oh,
can debate this.
no, no,
This is good. This is good. This is good for the pod.
no, no, it's not even like I'm debating in the sense. I'm just saying, like, you have so many of these guys. If we're gonna try to make a run, and we're gonna try to go like try to be better at it. How many times do we see the pitchers let us down, infield gaps let us down, the teams just losing the home run? Like if you know that you're on the team come June, you know the team you're on the team come September. I don't really care when. There's multiple One Nation events that you can get to, U Trip events that you can get to with your team to start playing that. You could have played like just our team and just what you let our team know. We could have played 3 different events, right? With the ball, with everything like that, and gotten ready for that type of thing before we even got down there. And that should almost become not mandatory, but like you should do it. There's no doubts about it. You should do it. Like in the sense, try to find your gaps, play with the right ball, play with the right zone. It's not mat ball anymore. Like if you're hitting
Right.
that plate, it's a ball.
Right. No, for sure. Like, and then I guess the last thing is like put players in divisions that they should be for better or worse. Again, though, like it's like the
Like that
Voyagers
C
team
team, the
playing men's
C
D is kind of crazy. Like I get the that Rock Dogs team, right? Remember that everybody. So Challenge Cup is essentially, and again, I've said it before, it's the last event of 2025. Even though it's played in 2026, right? Everybody goes off the year's prior rankings. So most of the players that played D against the Dogs are probably on their way to C, right? Which makes sense for the Dogs who just won B. They're on their way to A. So I have no problem with that, right? But then to have like Nova Scotia one be at the same level as them, and then you have some players from maybe said Rock Dogs team playing E, some maybe going. I don't know if there's any on the C team, but like we need a
Bentley for sure.
set of guideline, right? True, yes. Well, he was supposed to be on the B team. B's now again, and it's just a crapshoot. I'm not trying to harp on this team, but to let. And again, I did say A to C, so maybe it's fine. But like for example, the B team, the B division folded. Um, the Canada B team was allowed to drop down into C. Were any of the other B teams allowed to drop down into C? Probably not, because those guys have PRVs of B already, right? So there's zero chance that they can go play C. Why are we allowing the Canadian teams to go? If your division folds, it folds. Stop giving teams to people based on who they are, right? And I understand that they fundraise and stuff like that, and it folded right before. But again, those other, I mean, obviously the event didn't have enough teams to run, but like the other, say, 2 or 3 teams that were in it, like they did all the same stuff. They had to fundraise, they had to do it, whatever, right? And they don't get to go and they don't get to drop down to the sea level, right? Again, I wish them luck. There's some guys on the team that I really enjoy playing against and playing with, talking to, right? So I wish them nothing but luck. But again, it's not a shot at them. It's just a shot at how we as Canada handle these things, right? And now that we're sending more and more and more teams, we just need the structure. Like it's getting out of hand, it's getting crazy, and it's just people are getting frustrated. Like there was an overwhelming sense of embarrassment from some of the better players that were there this weekend, right? That again, like I was embarrassed to go 0-4, right? Not had nothing to do with Thunder. It's just nobody wants to go down there and go 0-4, right? There was people that were down there that were embarrassed that they went 1-3, right? With the same issues, right? Oh, if we had this player and this player and this player, they actually know how to play. Well, yeah, those are issues that's not a coach issue, right? Coaches are going to be biased as to who they think are good, right? Making a selection process with a cap on how many players you can have per team fixes that, because more than likely, unless you have a super team, the best player on the third place team is probably going to be better than your fifth best player on, say, Mama's Boys, right? Even though you might, as coach, think different, right? So I don't know. Will things get fixed? Probably not. I mean, somebody floated the idea around that they had heard that if you didn't make the top 20, you were going to lose your team. Again, I have very little faith in that happening, because I also heard that last year, and I saw a couple coaches that didn't place top 20 last year pick teams again this year. So I don't know what has to be done. It's
But like here's
unfortunate
like
that like
my
we
thought process on that is just like the 20th thing is just like there's just so many times where there's definitely teams that you can look here and be like, we're not sending you again. Can totally get behind that. But like let's say like Ontario Blue, right? Ontario Blue finished 27th. but like that team was made up of, to be honest, like a good mix of guys, not one certain team. They were fine in the sense of how they did everything. Like I wouldn't take away that.
But they now fall into the you're now playing it like the
Decaf.
Rock Dogs are going to be A, right? Now, if you want a team, you have to go play C. Again, though, the rules apply to some and not others. Second in E last year, right? As a technically a no, we were a C team. Yeah, we've been C for 2 years. Second in E last year was asked, sort of told to play D, even though all of us have PRBs slash One Nation ranks of E in the States, and that's what we play. We were told we had to go play D. So you have a C co-ed team or a B co-ed team playing D, and Nova Scotia 1 also playing D. Right. So it's like you slap some people with some rules and other, which again, though, just has to be consistency. Right. How can you let one team get away with playing so far down? But then, oh, you came second next year. So we're going to bump you. Right. And not let you play E. It just doesn't make any sense. Like,
No, I get
do
it.
we want to even
No, I
win?
get it.
Like, is that no, we do because I could see some of like the I could see some of the gears turning, and maybe I don't want to call it disappointment, but like kind of like it was eye opening to when some of the SPN directors were there and watching us get smoked. Right, I don't think they expected to see that live. Right, because every manager when they report back and they do their recap or whatever with SPN, they're gonna claim a positive experience. It was great. Thank you for inviting me. We had so much fun, blah, blah, blah. Like, no matter what your record is, you're always going to spin it off as positive. When you're at the park, it's not always positive, right? You got people not playing well. You got some people playing well. You got a lot of people complaining, blah, blah. It's vacation for some. It's a ball trip for others, right? It's just, and again, issues not exclusive to Canada. I hear the same thing about Michigan. I hear the same thing about Ohio. There's a lot of people in the States that just feel Challenge Cup is a joke, right? Because of the exact same issues. It's just for Canada, it goes a little bit overboard because it's just the wild, wild west with rankings in terms of like, oh, you're like, we're essentially just making up rankings as we go, right? For example, like you had a couple girls that played on the major team last year play either E or D co-ed. I was hearing from people at the park. I mean, E or D women's. That's wild. Like, what are we doing? Like that's if the US ever found out that we did that, like we would just get clowned, right? Well, you know now, I guess. But and again, it doesn't matter because we're going to get clowned equally as hard because we're not winning. We just need more structure, and it's just going to be better for everybody in the long run. Like I don't. Again, like it's not exactly what the guy from the Kingsman was saying, but he was onto something for sure. He definitely was. All right, C teams, major teams, do better this weekend, right? Um, Again, I hate to come off as like negative. It's mostly just comes from frustration with whatever, mostly that we didn't play well, right? Again, the ball was not great, but overall, Challenge Cup was a positive experience. Again, loved meeting some of you guys. Loved talking ball with you coaches, you players. Getting some photos with you guys. We'll post the Haterade photo with the Rock Dog soon. Love to hear you guys fucking Lee. You are public enemy number one, my guy. Number
With who now?
one. Most 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 wanted guy. Like I'm saying, they keep receipts, Lee. They keep more receipts than I do. The
What
people.
was it now?
The people.
Who's the people?
I don't know. Every team you ever left off of your list. You catch more flack than I do
I
for
know.
sure. For sure.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
sure.
I don't know why. I have no idea why everybody goes at me. I had guys from NWO being like, "Why I didn't have you on the top five of B?" It's like you guys weren't even close to top five this year in B. So like, why would I think you guys are making a jump? But yeah, like everybody, it felt like everybody knew their power ranking, whether they were in it, whether they weren't in it. It didn't matter. But I don't know. I still feel like people are just scared to go to you, big scary you, and people will go to me no problem. So I just catch
No,
a
no,
lot of the flack.
maybe on the internet. I had a bunch of people coming to me at the Challenge Cup, which was fine. I don't know. I don't know. The only thing I
I mean,
caught
it
flack
doesn't.
was from my rankings was not having the Rockies in it. Whatever, whatever. I still
It
stand
is
by
what
my
it is.
rankings until I get proven
We
otherwise.
officially also know from down there is that I mean Bashers are running it back in B. That's what we did find out. Bashers are running it back in B.
Yeah, yeah. Those pickups that they had fell. I don't want to say fell through, but I guess they fell. You can say they fell through, right? The pickups that they had that would have bumped them, gotten them off the bubble. They're either not following through with them, or the players went to go play somewhere else. So we will see the Bashers back in D. So, Bashers at 1 would be the edit. It's no longer 1A. It's just 1. They're the favorites to win D. I mean B. D
B.
in the States, I
Holy
guess.
moly.
Well, no, B, D in the States. We'll see how long that one lasts. Um, again.
Okay, Mount
All right.
Rushmore jerseys.
All right. So again, the Challenge Cup. I mean, I guess a positive you can say is the jersey trading. You feel like you're kids again when you're at a ball tournament trading pins. Challenge Cup. That's with jerseys. Lee, did you come home with any?
Yes, I did. I was
What'd
able
you
to
get?
trade my white.
Show and tell.
And
Show and
I
tell.
don't have it. I don't have it on me. I don't have it on
Go
me.
get it.
Give me one sec.
Go get it.
Yeah, give me
Hustle.
1 sec.
Hustle. Okay, so segueing over into our last topic of the day, Lee and I are going to discuss our Mount Rushmore of jerseys this weekend. So for those of you that don't know, jersey swapping at the Challenge Cup is a pretty big thing. It's almost like when you're kids and you're trading pins at like ball tournaments and stuff like that, and you're all hyped to get this giant ass pin from fucking Texas, and you have like this dinky ass Canadian flag, but the Texas kids used to love that little Canadian flag. That's how the jersey swap felt, because some of these jerseys were sick, and ours just they're hopefully they're better next year. But Lee, did you get any jerseys? Did you trade?
Yeah, I traded my white. I got a Colorado green for my white.
Show and tell,
Um,
Lee. Show and tell.
I got it.
Colorado. Oh, look at that thing. Look at it. See, way better than Canada uniforms. Way better.
They didn't
Shout out
like their
33 for
uniforms.
swap. They didn't like him?
Yeah, so they didn't like their uniforms because so what I found out how Colorado does their jerseys is they change it up every year. Crazy. So last year when Colorado came down, they were with the Colorado Buffaloes, the Buffs. They had those colors. The year before that, they were Avalanche colors. So they switch it up
Right.
for each team.
Mm-hmm.
So these ones, obviously, if you know college football, are Colorado
Colorado
State.
State. Ooh.
And all of those guys on that team are Buffs guys. They went to school there, graduated there, so they hated these jerseys. They wanted
That's a
them gone.
rough go. That's a rough go.
Yeah. So now to counter your argument, right? Do we like our jersey? No. I thought our black ones were actually okay. Like truthfully, I didn't have an issue with our black ones. I thought our white ones were pretty trash, to be honest. A lot of people loved our jerseys. I got an overwhelming sense, especially on the women's side, that people wanted to trade for our jersey. Now, you could probably
Okay.
play it into this is what I'll say.
Canada.
Probably
It's
play
Canada.
it's Canada. We don't have our last name on the back. And also, there was a lot more people from blue states that wanted to trade than red states. That not getting political on this pod, just saying what was the overwhelming what I saw.
Man,
Um,
I wanted a Texas and a Florida jersey so bad. So if I got a T-shirt that just said 51st state, that probably would have got me one of those. Missed opportunity there.
um,
Missed
but
opportunity
yeah.
there.
Okay, let's go to you. What did you walk away with?
So Too Hefty has my black. Um, I didn't jersey swap with Josh, but I'm gonna see him down in Texas this weekend. I'm hopefully trading it for an episode on the pod. I'll leak that
We'll
one.
take that.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah, we'll
we'll
take
take it.
that.
So here you can see here's going to be a picture of Too Hefty wearing that black 1-5. That was taken during the women's E game where against Virginia where things got really, really heated. I didn't finish that story, by the way. I was just going to finish it real quick. So it got so bad with the chirping that we were getting on the pitcher for just consistently walking our team back into the game. The pitcher's mother came over and had words and double birds for the fellas, for sure. Right in front of Trish and crew. And at that point I had to call over Too Hefty, and then we got Too Hefty to get on the pitcher a little bit. And that was fun. But I held on to my white. Funny story, I traded it in a Ross parking lot while waiting for our flight home. Ben Smith and we had to bring our bats home because said boys were on the road already and they drove our bats. So we had to find a way to get our bats home. So we went to Ross to buy a duffel bag. Long story short, there's a guy circling Ross and he sees us. I'm wearing my Anarchy gear. I see him, he's wearing his hype gear. So naturally he says, "Oh, hey, you played in the Challenge Cup?" "Yeah, sure. Where are you from?" "Arizona, blah, blah." This is a big fella too. So I'm just like, oh, at the end, I'm just like, "You got a jersey left?" I got white still in the bag. He's like, "Oh, yeah, for sure. I got one." So we have an Arizona jersey. What we got here?
Nice.
Arizona 77. Got the logo. They put their state flags on here, which I think is kind of
That'd
cool.
be cool.
And
Yeah.
then 77. Shout out to
Richardson. Shout out
Richardson,
Richardson.
my guy. His team, he said back home, is sponsored by Proton. So I was going to throw some Anarchy gear his way. Decided not to because you know what? Swing Anarchy always. I mean, Proton's cool, I
Nice.
guess. Um, but yeah, no, that was the only one that I swapped. Josh has my other jersey, so hopefully we can get him on the pod. It'll be later
Okay,
on
so
the air.
for
We have guests lined up.
Mount Rushmore, so who did you see around yourself if you had to give your top four in no order that you saw?
In no order. Okay, so North Texas
No
for
order. That's it,
sure.
Mount Rushmore.
North
Okay.
Texas for sure had sick uniforms. Um, let me think. Alaska's were cool. Oh, we did see a team from Alaska and they were actually pretty good. They could ball.
Two teams.
Alaska's were
There's two teams from Alaska and
Yeah,
G.
yeah. They could ball. I mean, the Texas uniforms were so good. I could give Texas two spots because the South Texas uniforms were like that flashy navy blue with like that Texas Ranger style thing. Like those were sick. Everybody was going crazy about the Florida ones. I'm not one for like jerseys that are too much anymore, which is crazy to say because if anybody remembers the OG Silverbacks uniforms, they are out there. They're one of the first uniforms that was out there. Now I don't really, that's not really my thing. So I'd say Texas, two Texas teams. Alaska was cool. The Oregon ones were really cool. I wish I would have got an Oregon one. So
Yeah.
hey, if you're a big fella on the Oregon from Oregon and you just so happen to stumble across this, DM me. I got jerseys at home. I'll do a 2-for-1. Throw in some Anarchy stuff too to get one of your jerseys. Right? Miss that place. Wish I could go back. So I need an Oregon jersey. Right? I'll find one of you guys online. But Lee, all right, give me your top list. What'd you see this weekend? What'd you like? And what did you wish you got?
Colorado, I was happy. Colorado, I think I told everybody I identified on Thursday that I wanted the Colorado jersey. So
Yes, you did.
happy I made that happen.
Mission accomplished.
Um, mission accomplished. It was the 11th hour. Like we were about to leave and I found one and got a switch.
Well, the ninth hour. Mine
I
was the 11th hour.
Yeah, true. Yours, yeah, good point. Ross parking lot definitely wins that.
Yeah.
I would say I really liked the Oregon uniforms, not piggybacking too much, but the Oregon uniforms were awesome. They were really cool. Did really like those. I'm trying to think, liked who was it? I think it was South Florida on the men's. They kind of had the palm tree. There was like a sunset with the palm tree. I did like that one, and I'm trying to think of my fourth, that really kinda that I was in talks with. I liked the South Carolina light blue that had the paw prints out, like, here.
It was essentially a Carolina
I don't know
Panthers
if
football jersey.
Correct,
sort of.
which is weird because 'cause I'm a
Yeah,
Bucks fan, in the sense, and I don't like that, but it's just cool how the jersey looked, and I like when it's, like, in relation to something. Like, I like the Colorado ones because of Colorado State. I like the South Carolina ones because of the Panthers. I like when it's because of something. Why? I
yeah, for
like
sure.
Oregon had the mountains. Like, I
Hmm.
like all that stuff.
Yeah, no, for sure. There again, it was really cool to see all the different designs and like again stuff relatable to their state. Um, we didn't have the worst jersey. Like
No, God, no.
New Jersey was bad. That North Carolina
North
team, like
Carolina,
that ended up
yeah.
winning. Like you had essentially a German flag on on your shirt. Like it. Again, nothing against the German
The
flag.
Arizona
I'm just saying
the
the colors are
Arizona
weird.
women's one the Arizona
I
women's
don't.
one with the camo, and, like, they had, like, a weird little yeah, theirs was bad
I have no
too.
idea what you're even talking about.
Got it.
No, again, good experience overall. Was fun to get out, watch some ball. It is January, right? You get your ball fixed in January and stuff like that. And again,
It was
we could talk.
snowing here, so it was great to be down there.
Yeah, yeah, man. A 90-degree temperature difference when stepping off the plane. Right, we go from or 90 whatever from 89 degrees, which is a record day in Florida for this time of the year, to minus 30 by the time I get off the plane in Michigan was absurd. Was absurd. But no, again, we could talk about the actual issues with Challenge Cup in Canada till we're blue in the face. But again, for those of you that are expecting any change, even though I enjoy talking about it, I enjoy talking to you guys about it. I appreciate that you guys feel that we have enough of a platform where we can come on and kind of be your voices. But until you guys start writing emails to the people that should actually see it and should actually know about this stuff, don't expect any change, guys. Like you can't expect Lee and I to come on here and just talk about it enough where they're going to again we're still just a small podcast, right, that talks about softball predominantly on Ontario, right, in the grand scheme of things. We love how you guys tune in. We love how you guys come to us and DM us and do all that. But in the softball space, we're not too hefty, right? We're
Yeah.
not big, right? So you got to go straight to the big guns and voice your concerns over stuff. And if enough of you do it, that's how you guys get change. But we do have your backs. I do agree with you that there are things that need to change. But again, we will be your voices for as long as we can. But there are other people that you guys should probably reach out to and voice your concerns if you have a legitimate concern. If you're just crying because you're a D player and you thought you were belonged on the E Challenge Cup team, go. My advice to you is go play C and go be good at C ball, and then maybe you'll get noticed to go play on that team next year. Um, Anyways, we're gonna try and get this episode out to you. I know I'm kind of talking about it, and you guys are going to see this. We're gonna try and drop this one on Wednesday, so we're gonna try and get another episode. We're gonna try and squeeze a little something in because we know this one is technically late. We're going to try and air this one maybe before Sunday, and we're going to try and get you guys another episode surprise Sunday. I'm going to see if maybe I can get a guest to tune in from Challenge Cup. Might even be just a short episode, but feel bad because we took a Christmas break where we missed one, and then we were late again this week, and some of you guys blow up. Like actually, there's a lot when we miss an episode.
I get a ton.
I
I get a
probably got
lot.
15 messages going, "Hey, it's 7 o'clock on Sunday. Where are you guys at?" Sorry, still in Florida, crying about losing, going 0-4 in E. But no, this has been fun. Again, Challenge Cup talk. So I know we've kind of touched on it for the past 5 episodes. It's obviously going to wind down. We're going to start getting into guests, getting into more Super Series rankings. The first event for some teams is going to be 3 weeks from now. There's going to be Fafo and Mama's Boys going down to Myrtle Beach. There's going to be 2 Ontario One Nation teams going down there to represent One Nation Canada down to the All-Star Classic, which is One Nation's version of Challenge Cup in February. And then the season really starts after that. It really does. I think the first official outdoor event at Berliner Park is the week after. Last week of February, first week of March. So ball season is right around the corner, guys. We have almost made it. Stay in the cages. Keep working hard. Lee and I will see you hopefully very soon. Again, remember your Pirates Bounty tournament. We're going to start taking deposits on the 1st. Go to the Pirates Bounty Facebook page to get information on that. Sign up for the Beaver Draft. The Beaver Draft has their own Facebook page if you want more information on that. Go to that. Um, Next week, we have a guest coming, or whenever this episode drops, we're going to get Leah, who is a second team all conference women's player on the Angry Beavers women's B team. She'll be here to talk for you ladies, especially about playing ball in the States, how she went from a fast pitch player to a top level conference player and stuff like that. And yeah, we got a lot of things that we're excited to roll out for you guys. Apologize if the past couple episodes have been dry. We wish we had happier things to talk about. But Christian this year when it combined 2-6 at the Challenge Cup, which wasn't what I had in mind, considering we went 5-2 last year and came second. But it is what it is. Learning experiences, we grow. We will be putting in the work the next couple weeks to be better, and that's all I can really say. Lee, anything else before we end this episode?
We're gonna try our best for Spotify and Apple. I get a lot of messages about that. We are gonna do our gosh darn best to
So
get it
right,
on there.
so right now, I appreciate you guys have gotten to the end of the episode, but go check Spotify, go check Apple for this week's episode and maybe next week. So we're going to try and upload this one. I honestly have no idea how those platforms work, but we're going to try and upload this one. If you see this one, you now know we have figured it out. So next one you can tune in on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from. And thanks for tuning in again to episode 6, which will be our second last Challenge Cup episode. We will talk about the majors in the sea, especially since we have a guest on that's going to be there. And we're going to talk to our second guest who's also going to be there. He'll be playing C, which is a little teaser. But we will see you guys next week. Thanks again for tuning in. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Keep those DMs coming. Keep your concerns coming. Keep commenting on our stuff. Keep sharing our stuff. We really do appreciate it. It's really helping us grow, and we do know that it's working. A lot of you guys are seeing this stuff. It really is from coast to coast. So keep doing that, and we will see you guys again next week. See ya.
See ya.